Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the lectures of ancient history. As you can see, it is lecture number 8 and the date is 7th September 2025. And today's discussion will revolve around Mauryan Empire, as you can see here. Before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief idea what we had discussed so far so that it will give you the connectivity to the lecture. First of all, when we started our discussion, we first established the definition of history, what history is. So we established the definition of history. Then we saw how to read the history. Why do we know about this much about the world that things happened? For example, how do we know that there was Indus Valley civilization? How do we know that there was Vedic period? How do we know that people evolved? So all this we discussed in a very systematic way. First of all, we discussed the sources of history. Sources of history. In this, we saw that there are two sources. One is literary sources. Second, archaeological sources. So on this basis, we then defined the history. If this history is based on the archaeological sources, then we divide history into different way. For example, we have Paleolithic age. We discussed the Paleolithic age in detail. We saw what are the three stages of the Paleolithic age, and we saw what are the evolutions which happened during the Paleolithic age. We then saw what were the weapons used, why they were heavy. We discussed that. How animals evolved in this phase, what was the mean temperature of the earth at that time, and also we discussed various aspects, what was the social life of the people at that time, and how they started to evolve time by time, and how their economy worked. We discussed everything in this regard. Then after that, we saw there is something called Mesolithic age. Mesolithic age, and we saw that this Mesolithic age, it comes in the timeline when there was the global warming was there, and when global warming was there, definitely the temperature of the earth increased, the snow that melted, and it led to the various other things. For example, ground, land was much available to the people. Land was available. It came out of the glaciers, it came out of the snow. Now there was more grass, which means more grazing, which means domestication of animals started, and humans started to evolve. And also when the temperature increased, the animals at that time, they also evolved. We saw that how their fat content reduced and they became faster. When they became faster, it was not easy for everybody to hunt them. So there was the evolution of the tools. We saw that emergence of the microliths. We discussed that. After the Mesolithic age, we saw various things. We saw that how this establishment of small settlements came in. People started to settle, not permanently, but temporarily settlements started. And after that, we saw that there was something called the Neolithic age. In the Neolithic age, we discussed that how it is also called the Neolithic revolution, because it was the first time when we saw the emergence of agriculture, and we assume that it was the chance observation of the people at that time how agriculture emerged. And at the same time, we saw that how agriculture can be the cancer, for the society. Because why? Because when you have agriculture, you have surplus. When you have surplus, it led to the formation of pots, invention of pots. We discussed that for that we need to store that. At the same time, we saw that early emergence of state. Early emergence of state. After that, after we discussed the Neolithic age, we saw what about the social life during the Neolithic age. We saw that what were the different sites in the Paleolithic age, in the Mesolithic age, and the Neolithic age. And in Neolithic age, we discussed about sites in detail, because it is the portion where from a question you can expect a prelims question. After the Neolithic age, we discussed the Chalcolithic age. Chalcolithic age or the Bronze age. Where here, or the Copper age, sorry. Copper age, then in the Chalcolithic age, copper continued, and plus bronze, it became the IVC. In the Chalcolithic age, we have two differentiations. In the first one, we saw that these are those sites which don't have any connection with the IVC. They only use copper. And in the IVC, it is a continuation of the Chalcolithic age, which comes from 4000 years BC approximately to 1500 BCE, almost to 1700 BC. This is approximate date which is given to it. And here in the Chalcolithic phase, in the Bronze Age, we discussed the IVC, and here we started with the we have the here we saw the emergence of the proto-history. Proto-history. What is this proto-history? Where we have the archaeological sources plus we have the literary sources, but we are not able to decipher the literary sources. So this much is sorted. After IVC, we saw that how there were different sites, how it was the first stage of urbanization in Indian subcontinent, first stage of urbanization, and we discussed different sites. We saw what was the economy there, what was the political system there, what was the social life there. We saw different terracottas which are very much important. We can assume things from them, but we are not able to read the script there. After IVC, we saw the early Vedic age. We came to the early Vedic age. In the early Vedic age, we saw that how the tribal societies started to evolve, and then we moved to the later Vedic age, and here we reached till 1000 BCE to 600 BCE. After this, we saw the Mahajanpadas 600 BCE. In the 600, after Mahajanpadas, then we diverted ourselves to the early to the state formation. For example, in Mahajanpadas, the Magad, it emerged as the biggest state. There we saw the Haryanki dynasty, we saw different dynasties there. We put some light on them, and then we saw the emergence of religions. What we discussed? We discussed the emergence of religions. For example, Ajvikas, they believe in Niyati, Buddhism. We discussed Buddhism in great detail, and we then discussed Jainism in great detail, and everything is sorted with respect to history. Again, I will repeat, it is with respect to history. In art and culture, we have to revisit these historic events, and we will see what was the art and culture that time. We will discuss that in detail. After we discussed the Buddhism and Jainism, then we moved back to the Magadha, and we saw that how it was important. We discussed in our yesterday's class Alexander's invasion. When we discussed Alexander's invasion, then we saw that how he defeated Porus, but he was very much happy with Porus because he fought valiantly and he gave his state back to the Porus. And then his governor, he installed governor Seleucus Nectar there. And after the death of Alexander, Seleucus Nectar, and here was the Nanda dynasty. After the assassination of Dhanananda by Chandragupta Maurya and by the help of Chanakya, after they assassinated the Dhanananda and now the Chandragupta Maurya became the sole ruler here. Now it was believed that there would be, as Seleucus Nectar would tend to move towards the east and he will try to come into the Indian subcontinent, but they both realized one thing, that Seleucus Nectar, he realized that he has whole Alexander's lands available to him, and Chandragupta Maurya realized that he has whole Indian subcontinent available to him. So they decided, let's go for the matrimonial allies. They went for the matrimonial allies, and the daughter of Seleucus Nectar, Helena, she married Chandragupta Maurya, and then they started their own journey. So this is the history so far which we had discussed in a nutshell. Now with this, what do we have to discuss today? Today we will start with the Mauryan Empire. We will start with the Chandragupta Maurya. But here I would like to mention one thing. We don't have to do PhD in Chandragupta Maurya. We don't have to discuss him in that detail. We don't have to discuss Ashoka in that detail, that we will give our thesis in the Ashoka, what was his Dhamma and everything, all that stuff. We don't have to look into their characters, what was their characters, what were their relationships. It is least important to you. Basically, the way we are taught, when I was in the coaching institute, the way I was taught, it was very much different than what is asked in the exams. So our focus here, it would be much exam oriented. Please, I will again repeat, our focus would be exam oriented. Whatever is required for your exam, that we will discuss. And I will again repeat myself, if I will leave anything here, that means I had left it either for art and culture or it is not important for you. This is something which I want to make very much clear here. Now with this, before we will start our discussion, I would like to take a minute to give you the brief introduction about our initiative, which we had started here from 2nd June. So let me give it. From 2nd June 2025, we started an initiative by the name Target IAS 2026. In this initiative, I promised you one thing, that every day I will upload 2 videos on my YouTube channel on this platform. First one in the morning, where we will take care of your current affairs In it, we will do the daily news analysis. We'll try to understand the news articles which are relevant for your examination. We'll try to derive the possible prelims or mains questions which can be framed from those articles, so that it will give the holistic idea how they are important for your exams and how the questions could come from these topics. And then in the evening session, I told you that I will upload another video where we will discuss the static syllabus of yours. And here in the static syllabus, I promised you one thing, that by the month of January 2026, I will complete your full syllabus, whatever would be required for you to clear the exam. Whether it would be related to prelims, everything would be covered. Whether it would be related to mains, everything would be covered. But the only exception is here that we are not going to cover the optional subjects. So why? Because for that you need experts in that. So not optionals here, but everything else would be covered here. And then I told you, when you want to clear the exam, you don't just need these lectures. You need something extra to read from. If you have the books, that is good. That's your personal choice. But if you want to trust me here, I have prepared notes for you with respect to each subject. And I told you that once we will complete the syllabus of every subject, the notes would be available. As currently we had completed Indian polity and governance, the comprehensive notes for them is available now. And I had wrote the notes for Indian polity and governance in 1100 pages almost. And every topic, whatever is required for you to clear the exam, and every topic from where they can ask you the question would be covered in this comprehensive book. Everything is covered. And one important thing about this book is that after every concept which we had discussed there, after every topic which we had discussed there, we had brought the possible prelims or mains questions, so that it will give the idea how in the exam the questions could come, or it will give the idea how important these topics are, and at the same time it will help you practice daily, and it will act as an test series for you for this particular subject. Now if you want to get access to this book, you know what you will have to do? You will have to mail me at salvation UPSC 136@gmail.com. If this handwriting is not clear to you, then you can go to the bio and you will see my mail there. You will mail me and I will definitely respond to you guys and send this book to you. But you will be told to pay only 200 rupees for this book. It is the only thing we can charge from you guys. So if you want to be the part of it, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. And please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Now without any delay, let's start our discussion of today's, which is the Mauryan Empire. Here I would like to mention again, as I told you, these lectures with respect to ancient history, there is the combination of concepts and facts. And unfortunately or fortunately, we can say, the chapters from the Buddhism, from the religions onwards, the questions which are often asked are much related to facts. You have to memorize the facts by heart. So that is why today's class also, it would be much factual in nature. It would be much factual in nature. So you will have to stay there, and trust me, the lecture which you will get today here, these lectures, the teachers would charge you in thousands for this, and I am giving you it to you on zero charges. Only you will have to subscribe my channel. That is the maximum appreciation you can give me, or you can comment on the video. Now let's see what we will have to discuss in the Mauryan Empire. In the Mauryan Empire, first we will have to look into the Mauryan political understanding. First, Mauryan political understanding. This you will have to look into. Not that important for your examination. Least you will expect any question, and that question would be very much evident. You can easily answer that, but still we will touch that little bit. Then we'll look into the administration, as it was the first centralized empire in Indian subcontinent. We'll look into the administration, and here you can expect the most of the questions because it will be filled with the facts. So there would be the facts. It would be filled with the facts. It would be filled with the names which you will have to remember, and you can do nothing but remember them. Then the third, we look into the Dhamma. We look into the Dhamma, and then fourth, we look into the edicts. These are the few things which we'll look into, and then also economy and social development and social development. These are the things which we will have to look into the Mauryan Empire. Now let us start our discussion by looking at the Mauryan political system. Let's try to understand few important facts which can be asked us in the exam. First, let me rub it. What, yesterday we saw that how Seleucid Empire emerged in our last class. Seleucid Empire, we saw that Seleucus Nectar was there. There was Seleucus Nectar, and here we saw that the Dhanananda Nanda, he was assassinated. By whom? By Chandragupta Maurya, and by the help of Chanakya. We saw that. And now there is Seleucus Nectar versus Chandragupta Maurya. It was much expected tussle between the two, but both realized one thing. For Seleucus Nectar, he realized that he has whole Alexander's land available to him, and Chandragupta Maurya, he realized that he has whole Indian subcontinent available to him. And both, the goodwill prevailed, good conscience prevailed, and they did what? They thought well, and they went into the matrimonial alliance. The daughter of Seleucus Nectar, Helena, got married with whom? Chandragupta Maurya. Now we have the Mauryan dynasty here. Let's leave this Seleucus Nectar there. With respect to first the political view of the Mauryan Empire, you have to look into the what were the important kings in this empire, which can be maybe asked in the exam. So let's remember them. First one is Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya. What is his date? Please do remember 324 to 297 approximately BCE. This is the approximate date given to him. After him, he has his son Bindusara. His tenure was 298 to 272. He has almost 99 children that we will discuss when we will discuss Ashoka. After him, we have the Ashoka, the greatest of Mauryan Empire. Ashoka, the greatest of Mauryan Empire, and his tenure was between 268 to 232. After Ashoka, we see there were some weak kings which you may remember them. That's great, but I will tell you whom you have to remember. Then we have Dasharatha. Please remember him, Dasharatha, because he was Dasharatha. He was son of Ashoka, and his tenure was between 232 to 224. Dasharatha. After Dasharatha, we have Samprati. His tenure, it was 224 to 215. 224 to 215 BC. Then we have Salishoka. Tenure 215 to 202 BCE. Then we have Deva Varman. His empire was 202 to 224 BCE. After him we have Shatadamvan. His tenure was between 195 to 187. 195 to 187. And then we have Brihadratha. His tenure was between 187 to 180 BCE. Then the Mauryan Empire ends here. So here I would note which are the important kings. Chandragupta Maurya, you have to know a few important things about him because he was the main person. You have to know about the Bindusara, you have to know about the Ashoka, you have to know about the Dasharatha, and you will have to know about the Brihadrata. Why? Because he was the last king, and his story will start with the assassination of him. By the way, we have to discuss why he was killed. So this is the political understanding. This is the number of kings in the Mauryan Empire. Now with this, let's start with the Chandragupta Maurya and let's try to understand few important facts about the Chandragupta Maurya. Who was he? We had discussed that how he came to the power by the help of Chanakya, how he assassinated Dhanananda Nanda of Nanda dynasty. We discussed that. That is very much clear. And what we need to know, we don't have to go to that detail about Chandragupta Maurya. We don't want to waste our times in studying these kings in that detail, which is not important, which even from where you cannot expect a single question. So what is the fun in reading him in that detail? We'll just focus on the important facts about him, which can be asked in the exam. First, who was Chandragupta Maurya? What was he called by the Greeks? Greek sources, what they call him? They call him Sandrakotas and Andrakotas. Sandrakotas and Andrakotas. This is the name given to him by the Greeks. So Greeks know him by these names. Greeks call him by Sandrakotas and Andrakotas. And he had matrimonial alliances. The great thing about him, he would go into the matrimonial alliances. Much like Akbar, he would not believe in going for wars. If things would be sorted out by matrimonial alliances, then let's go for it. He has good relationship with neighbors. That you have to know. And he was backed by Chanakya, backed by Kautilya or Chanakya, backed by Kautilya or Chanakya. So this is few important facts about him. And where do we find his mention? First time we find his mention in the Jonagar inscription. In Jonagar inscription, we find his mention first time in the Jonagar inscription. First to talk about Chandragupta Maurya. So how we find it? Because there is an artificial lake constructed there. And who was this Sudarshan Lake? Sudarshan Lake constructed there. The artificial lake was constructed there, and it is believed it was Chandragupta Maurya who constructed it first time. It was Chandragupta Maurya who connected it first time, and then Rudradhamman, he renovated it. So here, just remember that he was in Junagadh inscription. We find his mention first time in the where the Sudarshan Lake was constructed by him. What are the other texts which mention about him? The several texts such as the Puranas. Then we have texts like Malinda Pantha, Malinda Panka. We have Mudra Rakshasha. Please ignore my mispronunciations because, as I had told you multiple times, I am from Jammu and Kashmir. My mother tongue is not even Hindi, so I can mispronounce it, such words. So please just remember the words, spellings, what are important for you, and you can pronunciate it in your own way. They are not going to look into your pronunciations. They are going to look into the words, are they spelled well. You don't need to give the proper spelling because these are words these are not English words, so there could be the spelling mistakes too, but at least they should make some sense. Then we have Mudra Rakshasa. We have Mahavamshitika. We have Parishishta Parvan. we have Parishista Parvan. They refer to the conflict with Nandas. All these texts they refer his the conflict. They reflect the conflict with Nandas, his conflict with Nandas. So they mention him. He, Chandragupta Maurya, he established himself in Punjab and then moved towards eastwards until he gained Magadha. He established himself in Punjab and then moved towards east until he gained Magadha. So this is his story. This much about Chandragupta Maurya should be enough for you to crack any question if asked in the exam. And there are least such questions, even if they will ask, it is not 100%. Now, who succeeded Chandragupta Maurya? It is Bindusara. Please, I know that I have this in my mind that when I used to go to my coaching institute, there they would give us the stories about Chandragupta Maurya. They would give us the fancy stories, and I believe that if you would had discussed or if you would had gone to any coaching institute and you would start thinking that I had not given you the proper understanding of it. But trust me, all that story, all that nonsense is not important for your exam. Here we are much focused on the exam, whatever is asked in the exam that we are going to discuss here. We don't have to do the PhD in the history. Remember that. What is important that we will discuss, and what are the trends from 2013, how the questions are asked. Our focus is much on that. Who succeeded him? It was Bindusara. Bindusara. He succeeded the Chandragupta Maurya. And you know about Chandragupta Maurya, he was a Jain. He went for the fast till death and he died. We know, everybody knows that. That is not something which we can discuss, and you cannot expect a question from that. That would be the full toss if given in the exam. Then we have the Bindusara. Who is Bindusara? He is the son of Chandragupta Maurya. He consolidated the empire of his father. Consolidated the empire of his father. He gave the title to himself as the Amtra. I will write the name. Amchitra Gatha. Amchitra Gatha. What is the meaning of this? It is the slayer of foes. Slayer of foes. But one important thing about him, he did not slay anyone. He just gave a slayer of enemies this name, this fancy name to himself, but he did not slay anyone. And he was referred by Greeks by the Emitocrates. If I'm pronouncing it right, Mitro Straits or Catrates, whatever you call it. The Greeks referred to him by this name, same meaning, the slayer of enemies or foes, whatever you want to call him. But where we see the reference of him, where he is highly referred, we see his reference in the Tamil poets, in Sangam literature. In Sangam literature, we see his reference, and we see one great thing about him. He often believed in exchange of ambassadors. He asked for the philosophers, but it was from the Greek king, as it is believed that, but they rejected. He believed in exchange of ambassadors. He was much. He had the habit of drinking alcohol, and he would often ask alcohol from the Greeks. He was much interested in alcohol than in reality than consolidating the empire of his father. But he was much lucky. He was not that intelligent, that great, but still he was able to continue his father's kingdom. After him, we saw that actually he believed in the exchange of empires, and what religion he patronized? What religion he patronized? It is the Ajvikas. He was a follower of Ajvika religion. He was follower of Ajvika religion. We know that Ajvika religion, they believe in the niyati, the fate. They have the belief in the fate. Then important things you need to know about him. There was a person named Dimachus. He was sent by Antiochus. He was sent by Antiochus. Sent by Antiochus. Who is this Antiochus? He is the successor of Nicholas Nectar. Seleucus Nectar. He is the successor of Seleucus Nectar. One. Then also Dimachus was sent to him as an ambassador. Then also Dionysius sent by Ptolemy to Philadelphus. You know, Dionysus and Dimachus. Dimachus was sent by Antiochus, who was the successor of Nicholas Nectar, and then we have the Dionysus. He was sent by Ptolemy to Philadelphus. He was the ruler of Egypt. Ptolemy to Philadelphus. He was the ruler of Egypt. Please do know this much about him. You are sorted with Bindusara. Now let's move to the main man of the Mauryan Empire. He is Ashoka. Main man of Mauryan Empire is the Ashoka. His reign from 268 to 232 BCE. Let's know about him. During his father's reign, Ashoka was stationed as governor at Ujjain. He was governor at Ujjain, and it is also believed that he was before that he was possibly the governor of Taxila. He was also the governor of Taxila. So it is believed about the Bindusara that he had 99 children, 99 sons, we would say. And Ashoka was that great, he killed all his 99 sons and he came into the throne. He became the king. And according to Mahavamsha, a Buddhist chronicle of Sri Lanka, Ashoka captured the throne after killing all his brothers. What is the source to this? It is Mahavamsha. According to Mahavamsha, which is a Buddhist chronicle, of Sri Lanka. It talks about Ashoka captured the throne after killing all his brothers. This you had heard, but remember it was Mahavamsha of the Buddhist chronicle. And it is believed that maybe Ashoka killed 9 brothers or 99. Well, there is the conflict, but one thing is very much clear, that he killed his brothers to capture his throne. Then he fought the Kalinga War. He fought Kalinga War in the 8th regular year, in the 8th year of his reign, it would be 261 BCE or 260 BCE for the Kalinga War. And this Kalinga War, it was a turning point of his life, as he killed many people in this war. He was deeply disturbed by the death and destruction that occurred in the war, and Ashoka decided to abandon war and take up the propagation of Dhamma. After the Kalinga War, when he saw that and it is believed that there was a Gupta boy monk who told him that what you achieved by killing all this, by doing all these killings, it would have been better if you would have won their hearts, and it shattered him. And eventually he gave up. After seeing this destruction, he gave up the war, and Ashoka decided to abandon war and take up the propagation of Dhamma. Take up the propagation of Dhamma. He took up the propagation of Dhamma. So here we reach to the Dhamma. You may feel that I had cut short the Ashoka's personal relations. Ashoka's coronation, 2 times he was coronated, and for certain time when he killed his 99 brothers for 7 years, I guess he did not went for the coronation. Well, that is there. I told you whatever is important, whatever from where you expect the questions, that I will discuss here. We don't have to discuss the Mauryan Empire for 5 to 6 hours only, and at least we will expect 2 or 3 questions from it. So that is nonsense. We will only focus on that data which is important for your exam. Now let's move to the another concept of the Ashokas, which is the Dhamma of Ashoka, which is from where we can expect the questions, and from which we can use in answer writing too, because we have to write the philosophy of Indian culture. Sometimes we may use that too in our answer writing. The facts, the rock edicts of the Ashoka, major rock edicts, what did he mention there, and we can say that we believed in this before the world knew about it. So this is how we write the answers. Now, what is Dhamma? This is the Prakrit word for Dharma. Dhamma, Ashoka's Dhamma. This is the Prakrit word for Dharma. Prakrit word for Dharma. What it is the Prakrit word for the Dharma. It was a religious policy of the Ashoka. It was the religious policy of Ashoka. But here is a contradiction. The new historians, they believe that it was not a religious policy, but it was a politico-religious policy. For them it was a politico-religious policy. It was not a religious policy of Ashoka, but it was a politico-religious policy. Why they believe so? Because they believe that let's assume that he was shattered by the war. But I don't agree with this agreement. I would tell you that once we will complete this discussion here with Dhamma. They believe, the new historians, they believe that if Ashoka was so genuine, he wanted to end the non-violence, why did he choose Buddhism? Why did he not choose Jainism, which totally ends the which is totally against the non-violence? We had discussed that. Jainism, they say no to non-violence. Buddhism, they say whenever it is necessary and you are forced, you should go for the non-violence. It is very much clear. So here there is the questions. Once he killed his 99 brothers, why did he not? Why did his heart did not change that time? Or we can say, why only after doing the Kalinga war? Because they then give the argument. What is their argument? They believe that after the Kalinga war, Ashoka has achieved whatever he wanted to achieve. And once he achieved that, now he wanted to represent himself good in front of the people. So he said that he renunciated his religion, he converted to Buddhism, so that in the Buddhism he can justify his acts. This is one theory. And before the Buddhism, he was Ajvika. What he was? He was Ajvika follower. And we know about the Ajvikas, there is the concept of niyati. Everything is decided by the God. Whatever you will do that, irrespective of even if you don't want to do it. So what they believe that when he was Ajvika, he did everything. He justified his tactics, he justified his killings by saying that he is the follower of Ajvika. It is written in my niyati that I will do it. And once he achieved everything, this philosophy did not match him, because he knew that he would be studied. He knew that someday in 2025 there would be students studying for UPSC, and they would have maybe joined Salvation IAS, and they will study about me. And according to new historians, they believe that he knew about that what he has done, and he wanted to make his image clear. So he gave up his earlier religion and went to Buddhism, and Buddhism suited him. And if we look at his Dhamma, it is not only the religious philosophy, it is not everything he has got from the Buddhism. There we see the mixtures, whatever suited him. Dhamma the definition they give, it is the interpretation of Ashoka's, it is Ashoka's interpretation of the Buddhism. Dhamma is the Ashoka's interpretation of Buddhism. So they say that this is the Ashoka's interpretation of Buddhism. It is not totally Buddhism what he had believed in. He may have converted to Buddhism, but whatever suited him, he adopted that. So this is one theory, and then they say that why? What is the reason for that? They will tell you that whenever you will see his inscriptions, he would talk about how he killed the people, how he killed these people, and then he will say that he had abandoned it because it did not give satisfaction to him. That in a way he is using his killings as the passive aggressive communication. He is using his killings as the passive aggressive communication. But this is one way of argument. But personally, I don't agree with it. You will tell me why. Because from whom you are going to get the motivation, or who can motivate you the best? Who can give you the best advice? The person who has the experience will give you the best advice. The person who has experienced anything, he will give you the best advice. Why do you hear to the toppers? Because you know that these toppers, what their lifestyle was, how their approach was with respect to UPSC, you will try to follow that. Why would you hear to those people, those students who had qualified IAS after 5 years? Because they will tell you what about the mistakes they had done in these 5 years, which you should not repeat. And if we look at the Dhamma, if we look at his, what he told his sons, what to do, what not to do, it seems to me, my personal opinion about it is that he wanted to convey them that whatever he did was not right. He killed the people that did not give satisfaction to them. And also this is one of the way, when we will look at the decline of Mauryan Empire, this is the reason given that the Mauryan Empire, the Ashoka, he in a way abandoned the war. He was not that warmonger. He did not continue that warmongering continuously, and eventually this, what did it do? It weakened his army, and in the coming days, in the coming time, it led to the decline of Mauryan Empire. So to me, what I personally believe, he might be the genuine person. Why he gave these inscriptions? Because why he gave these statements? Because he really wanted his people to know how bad it is, and that's what I believe in. So this is my philosophy, and this is the modern historian philosophy. And to you, do you want to know that? Not at all. It is not necessary for you. Now let us look at the principles of Dhamma. As we know that it is the Ashokan interpretation of Buddhism. Ashokan interpretation of Buddhism. It is the Ashokan interpretation of Buddhism, the Ashoka's Dhamma. So what is the principle? The theme of Ahimsa. First, theme of Ahimsa, that is non-injury, is an important aspect of Ashoka's Dhamma. It is the important aspect of Ashoka's Dhamma and is frequently mentioned and emphasized. It is frequently mentioned and emphasized. For example, in Rock Addict 1, we see Rock Addict 1. We will discuss Rock Addicts again, but here do remember that, because you have to justify this theme of Ahimsa if it would be asked in the exam. In the Rock Addict 1, he announces bans on animal sacrifices at some or all places, and on certain kinds of festival gatherings that probably included the killing of animals, and also reports of reduction in the killings of animals for food in the royal kitchen. So definitely the Rock Addict 1, he announces bans on the animal sacrifices at either at some place or all the places, and also at the in all kinds of festive gatherings, and also in the royal kitchen he reduced that. So first thing. Then also pillar 5. Pillar 5, it here he refers to more sweeping prohibition promulgation by Ashoka 26 years after his conservation about the Ahimsa. Then the second theme of Ashoka's Dhamma is the good conduct and social responsibility. The good conduct and social responsibility that were part of the Dhamma were anchored to certain key relations. For example, Rock Addict 9, good conduct and social relationship. For example, in Rock Addict 9 begins with a criticism of ceremonies performed by people, especially women, on occasions such as illness, marriage, birth, and setting forth on journeys. So here he also discussed that. Then mutual respect, mutual respect, mutual respect, and concord among belongings to different sects or religious communities. Mutual respect between the religious communities, let's keep it short. Mutual respect and concord among belongings to different sects or religious communities. One of the most respectable and innovative aspect of Ashoka's idea of his own Dhamma and the Dhamma of a king was his renunciation of warfare. His renunciation of warfare. He renunciated the warfare and his redefinition of righteous war. He believed in the righteous war. That is also one of the criticism to him, that he was not genuine in his in his ahimsa theory. He believed that what is this righteous war? It would be his definition. Righteous war, it would be his definition. Then Ashoka created a special cadre of Dhamma Mahamatmas 13 years after his coronation, or conser you know after being the king. Rock Edit 5 enjoins them to separate Dhamma within the kingdom and among border people. Separate the Dhamma. Separate the Dhamma. So Ashoka created a special cadre of Dhamma Mahamatas 13 years after his coronation, that they will separate the Dhamma. These Mahamatas, they will separate the Dhamma. The chief disseminator of the Dhamma message was, however, Ashoka himself. In Major Rock Edict 8, he stated that earlier kings used to go on pleasure tours consisting of hunts and other pastimes. So he criticized this. That in Major Rock Edict 8, he stated that earlier kings used to go on pleasure tours consisting of hunts and other pastimes. So we can say that the Dhamma of Ashoka was a politico-religious philosophy. According to some, it was a religious philosophy. But it is not totally he had got from the Dhamma, from Buddhism. What he inspired, the things the Buddhism inspired him, he got them. What were helpful, what were useful for him, he got them. Whatever was not important for him, he left that there. Now let's move to the third part of our today's discussion, which is the administration. And from here, you will have to keep your heart little big, keep your mind open, because here we have to look into various terms which are very much important for your examination. So let's look into the administration. If I will complete it today, otherwise we will continue tomorrow too. I don't want to make our lectures go beyond 1 hour, because it may get boring for you, and you may not be that open. You may feel very much tiredness. So let's talk a little bit about administration, then we'll move. Then tomorrow we'll discuss administration onwards. Administration. So what was the administration? Mauryan Empire, only subcontinental level. It was the first at the subcontinental level, first centralized empire. By centralized empire, we mean that king will control the people himself by the help of his officers. So definitely we will see the bureaucrats, money officers in the administration of the Mauryan Empire. And what is decentralization? In the decentralization, what do we understand? The king controls regional intermediaries, and these regional intermediaries, they control the people. In the decentralized, we see the king controls regional intermediaries, and these regional intermediaries, they control the people. So this is the difference between the king the central administration and the decentralized administration. Then by reading, now we'll see the Ashoka's administration. By reading the Kautilya's Arthashastra, he created a centralized political through his power and Dhamma, and bureaucracy should be there. The philosophy of Ashoka's centralization was captured in first Saptang Raja or theory. First Saptang Raja theory we should see of the Kautilya, of the Chanakya. There we'll try to understand how the state should look like and what Mauryans adopted from it. So Saptang Rajya or theory. So it was given by whom? By Kautilya. It is this Saptang Rajya theory. It says it is the 7 limbs of the empire. 7 limbs of the empire. 7 limbs of the empire which make empire stable, or which make 7 limbs of the empire which makes empire stable, or which makes empire to exist. What are these 7 limbs according to Kautilya? He argues that there should be Swami by the name king. We know that. Please do know these words. From here you can be asked a question. Then there should be Janpad. What is this Janpad? He is the official. Then there should be Amatya. Janpad, people. Sorry, Janpad, it is the people or territory. Then we have the Amatya. It is the official. Fourth, it is the Kosha, which is treasury. Kosha is treasury. Then we have Durga. Fifth. Durga, it is the fortified capital. Then we have the 6th, which is Mitra, is the ally. And 7th, it is Danda, which is justice. So these are the 7 limbs of an empire. For empire to exist, these 7 limbs are very much important. These 7 limbs are very much important. There is no exact reference according to Saptarajya theory. There is no exact reference to the military. If you could have seen, there is no mention of the military. No exact reference to the military. There is no exact reference to the military. Then let us see what was the Mauryan Empire. How did it look like? Then let's put some light on it. What was the centralization? What were the offices at the centralization center, and what were the offices at the province? Then we will conclude our today's discussion. At the center we have the king. He has this at the center. Then we have the central level and we have the state level. So at center we have the Swami. Here I will write empire. Then center and the state and the provincial, or not state. We will say provincial level or regional level. At center we have Swami. Under Swami there were Tirthas. Under him, he is the head Tirthas. These are the departments, we can say departments. Then under Tirthas we will see the Adhyakshas, Adhyakshas. He is the head of the department. Under Adhyakshas we have 2. Here we have the Amatya. He is the official. And here we have the Mahamallas. He is the special official. Special official, or we can say special officer. This is at the central level. So let me repeat what is at the central level. At the central level, we have the Swami. Under him, he is the Tirtha, head of the Tirtha. Under him, we see the Tirthas departments. Under in the Tirthas, we see the Adhyakshas, which is Adhyaksha is the head of the department. Then we have the under Adhyaksha, we have the Amatya, he is the officer, and we have Mahamalla, he is the special officer. This is at the state level. This is at the center level. Then let's look at the state level. At the provincial level, we have the Kumara. Provincial level, we have the Kumara or Aryaputra. Aryaputra. Who is Kumara? He would be son of Swami. Aryaputra, relative of Swami or relative of king. And under him, under them, there would be urban and rural. Urban and rural, decentralization. At urban, we have the Pradeshika. We have the Pradeshika, and at the rural, we have Rajuka. And under Pradeshika, this Pradeshika, he in every 5 years he will inspect his region, and he will spread Dhamma. Under Pradeshika, we will see Yukita. We will see Sthanika, and we will see Gopa. We will see Yukita, Sthanika, and Gopa. It is the provincial administration. Kumara or Aryaputra. Under them, they have the Pradeshika or Rajuka. Rajuka is for rural. Pradeshika is for urban. In the urban, we see then Yukita, Sthanika, and Gopa. Under Yukita, we see the Gama and then Gramika. Here under Rajuka, we have the Yukita and Sthanika. Under Yukitas, again Grama and Gramika. Who is Sthanika? He is the tax collector. And who is Gopa? He is the accountant. So this is the administrative level at the provincial level. Now with this, I am going to conclude today's discussion. I hope everything is very much clear. I don't want to further burden you with this lecture. So if you like the video, please do share it with your friends. Please do subscribe the channel, and please write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.